Hey Gear Seekers, I'm Nick. Welcome back to another episode of Nick Water Cools a Threadripper. Anyways guys, in this part we're going to assemble everything, but I wanted to show you guys a few different and little bits of modifications that I did before we put it together, because you probably wouldn't have seen it and I probably won't mention it otherwise. But before that, here's a word from this series sponsor. This video series is proudly brought to you by Thermaltake and their new high-capacity ToughRAM RGB DDR4 RAM. Featuring Hynix A-Die 2GB memory chips with module capacities up to 32 gigs per stick and available in 64GB kits. Perfect for memory-intensive applications like content creation and for overclocking. It features full RGB lighting support for ASUS AuraSync, Gigabyte RGB Fusion, ASRock Polychrome Sync, and MSI Mystic Light. ToughRAM RGB also comes with a comprehensive limited lifetime warranty for each ToughRAM RGB kit. For more information on Thermaltake's ToughRAM RGB, check out the link in the video description. As I mentioned in the intro, there are a few little things that I changed that you probably would have noticed and I wouldn't have actually said anything about. But I wanted to share them with you, so let's quickly go over those little changes that I made to the loop, and then assembly time. All right, one of the first things I changed, you may or may not have noticed, is all of the fittings now are completely black. The homie Alex from Simple Mods came in clutch and basically gave me his box of black fittings and was like, dude, use whatever you want and make it all black if you want. So that's what I did. I basically swapped all of these fittings to be black, and there's a couple other things that I did on the back side for efficiency that make it a little bit better with those additional fittings that I got my hands on. As I mentioned, I did change everything for black fittings, including this here. So this design is exactly the same. However, this has changed. I actually made it slightly wider because it was getting quite close to hitting this. And I put a T-piece in here to add a thermal probe. So there's two thermal probes in the system now that I didn't talk about. You can see this one, the other one you can't see, it's in a weird spot, but this one measures the post-radiated temperature and there's one that measures it pre-temperature. So I'll have two readings of what the coolant temperature is at different parts of the loop, and they plug straight into the motherboard, and the motherboard can actually monitor these sensors quite easy. So yeah, that wire coming off is a thermal probe, so it's actually quite cool. Other than that, I changed every fitting down here to be black as well. I had silver ones on there before. And also, you'll notice that I've put all the Velcro straps in for cable management and kind of semi-cable managed it just to about where stuff's going to go on the motherboard. And lastly, I wanted to mention that I'm not going to water cool the 3090 yet, because the water block I've got, as I showed in part 1, is an R&D sample, but it does work. But I don't have a nice backplate for it. So the PCB on the back side of the GPU would have been exposed. So what I've decided to do is I actually ordered an acetal one, a black one that looks completely industrial and suits the rest of the water blocks in the system. So we're going to be using that. And when that arrives, I'll do a follow-up to this where we'll talk about thermals and everything of the whole system once we get that water block. But what I'm going to do today is assemble it, and obviously water block for the CPU and everything is going to go in, and then I'm gonna fill it. Because the great thing about this loop, and kind of the point of it, is I can add that GPU at a later time because of the design of the loop. So there's a use case straight off the bat. I don't like the water block that I've got for the GPU, so I'm not going to use it. So I'm going to plumb it all up and fill it and do all that stuff now. All right, without further ado, let's jump into it. And if you've got any questions, drop a comment below. I'll try and answer them, but most of which is going to be answered in this video anyway, a bit later in the video. And if you've got questions as well about these types of builds and whatnot, we do have a tech help Discord, and you can ask questions. We've got a massive community over there of people that can help you out with any issues you're having with your system if you ask stuff in the comments. So yeah, it's just easier to head on over to the Tech Help Discord. Do yourself a favor and save yourself some time. Anyway, it's build time. Let's jump in. I'm excited. I hope you guys are keen because I've been waiting for this for ages. So let's get started. ladies and gents, as you can see, I'm finished assembling it for now. However, in the new year, this will be coming out one more time and we'll be putting the water block on it because, as I mentioned at the start of this video, which was actually filmed about 4 days ago now, because there's a few things I'll chat about in this video. But yeah, this water block is going to be put on here, waiting for an acetal one to come. I didn't want to have a clear RGB one. I just wanted to be all blacked out and everything. And yeah, that's why I didn't end up water cooling it for this video. But it will come in part 4, which I can't believe there's going to be a part 4, but like here we are. We did the Aura storage card on top, and because this is Threadripper, we can use a thing called bifurcation. If you've never heard of it, basically it allows us to split all of the PCIe lanes, or all 16 of them, into 4x4x4x4, 4x4x4x4, yeah, that's all right. And it allows each of the M.2s to have its own allocation on that slot as well. And because this is also Threadripper, we've got another full-size by 16 slot, so we can put the GPU further down so we don't lose any bandwidth with the GPU, which is actually really, really good. And it allows us to get better airflow for when these things are air-cooled, because this Aura storage card has a fan down the bottom, nice straight airflow path through here, and this GPU will breathe better because it doesn't have the Aura storage card sitting right up against it. Now, on to the things that didn't go to plan. Okay, well, we ended up filling the loop, and there was a clip that I filmed. I don't think I put it in, but I'll put it in now, maybe. I don't know, maybe I'll edit this whole part out. But basically what happened was, put the funnel in, started filling, and it just overflowed everywhere straight off the bat. And I knew this was gonna happen because there was nowhere for the air to escape the loop. We ended up filling it up from the bottom and topping it up through the top once we got a full flow through of coolant. We ended up using some different coolant. We used some Corsair clear coolant. It's based on a Mayhem solution. It's more glycol than most other solutions, which is good for long-term use, and it absolutely stinks. But it is definitely better for a system that you're gonna be running for a long time. So yeah, it's called Corsair X5, but it's just based on regular Mayhem's clear. So yeah, nothing too special about it. It is really sticky though, sticky to the touch. Now there's quite a few air bubbles still in the reservoir. The story goes, after we got this filled on Friday, it's now Monday or Sunday, whatever day it is, I had another power supply hooked up, and we leak tested this, not in here, we leak tested it somewhere else in the house with something we could see if it actually dropped any coolant. We ran that for 48 hours to bleed most of the air out. There's only a couple tiny air bubbles left in the reservoir. The reason for that is because of the loop design, but there'll always be a tiny bit of air in it, but it's not really going to affect it. Not with a custom loop, it doesn't really affect it that much because the air can physically escape the loop too. I don't want to do any of the talking of all of the parts until the final reveal. I'll put a PC part picker list in the description though, so if you want to really look at what it's all in here, you can do that. But yeah, because once this is water cooled and it's the way that I want it to be, it's going to be perfect. But for now, I can actually use this and edit on it, and that's the idea. But yes, there will be a part 4 in 2021. Not quite yet, because we are only a couple days out from Christmas and New Year and all that stuff, and nothing's going to come in that time, like no parts, and we probably won't be uploading as much as well. So this might even be one of the last uploads for 2020. Maybe?
Probably not.
Well, you don't know when this video is coming out, Claire, because as of filming this part 3, part 2 hasn't even come out yet.
Wow.
So, yeah, so this is probably going to come out like maybe 29th of December? Maybe 30th of December? I don't know. It'll be a lot later than when we're filming this, because we're filming this, I don't know what date it is, doesn't really matter, but yeah, part 2 is not even out yet, so you can get an idea of when this was filmed. It is out on Floatplane though, so if you want to check it out on Floatplane, you can do that now, but as of this going live, part 2 will be out. Man, time machines are really confusing. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this series so far, and yes, once again, I will be following this up one more time, and in that follow-up, once we've got the GPU and everything hooked up, we will be doing a thermal test with it. So I've already set up all the fan curves and everything. This machine runs, I've used it, but I turned it off for this because I didn't want all the RGB and stuff to be on, because I still need to go through and disable all that stuff. But yes, I hope you enjoyed it. If you like the music you heard here, I make all the music. Want to get early access to this one right here on Floatplane, although, like I said, time machines. Interesting because, yeah, this will well and truly have been out on Floatplane by the time that you see this, and I just told you to go watch it on Floatplane. But part 4 might be live by the time this goes live on the internet, on Floatplane. I don't know, that's really confusing. Anyways, guys, I'm your boy Nick with Gear Seekers. You peak, we seek. And if this is our last upload for the year, Happy New Year. If not, time machines are weird and confusing. Thanks for watching.